Hi everybody, how are you? My name is Curry Spice. I have a bachelor's degree in English creative writing. I have always been a creative in different facets. I've done, from a kid till now, I've done dancing, I've done, um, I've tried instrumentation, I've tried learning how to play piano. That didn't go over very well. I wasn't patient with the process. But anyway, as far as what I've done successfully, I know how to sing. I know how to draw, sketch, paint, write, like poetry, short stories in college. Um, I make funny content, um, just thought provoking content, dark humor content, all different kinds that you can think of. But that's usually what I do. Um, I also do some of my own photography. I've done modeling. Uh, I've been the subject in my own photography as a model. And it's been a journey. I'm very, very grateful for everything. And we've been undergoing, my girlfriend and I'm in the LGBT community. African American. I have a girlfriend. I've been with her for almost 10 months. And it's been amazing. I love her very much. We are victims of being outcasted by our families, outcasted by friends. I've we both actually have been victims of emotional abuse. Being outcasted as a lesbian is just not, it's like one of the most painful forms of rejection you could ever experience. But I use my content to make an impact on the world. And I like to make relatable content for people. They can see what I'm going through. They can vibe with me. They can laugh with me about serious topics, like topics that are hard to digest. But it's just finding the humor in those tough topics to talk about. And I know it can be very difficult to find humor in something traumatic, but I feel like it's necessary. You know what I mean? I feel like it's necessary for growth. Excuse me, guys. I feel like it's necessary for growth. Just like it's life. Life is like a journey of like finding your happiness, running toward your happiness, running toward your freedom, running toward your own success, and thriving in life, not just surviving, but it's about thriving in life, making an impact in people, making a huge, huge impact. And I love to do that. That's why, like, with all of my creative facets, all my facets of creativity that I like to delve into, it's helped me a lot that like I was able to touch so many people with my work. It means more to me than anyone could ever know. My content is for the audience. I love my audience. I love my audience. And I wouldn't be where I am today, partly will be, because of my audience and also because of my girlfriend. My content has gotten me through some really tough times. I watch my own content, funny content, thought-provoking content. I watch my own content, and it helps me a lot. My content has changed slightly over the course of the 2 years, 2+ years that I've been doing it, and doing it on different, avenues, different platforms. But but I would just like to just talk about the 100,000 plus people, my followers. Actually, more than that. More like 1,000, over 106,000, over 106,000 followers across all my platforms, just like reaching out to them, thanking them for everything, letting me make an impact on them, and letting them inspire them in times of need where I'm their voice, and maybe they feel like they're in a time where they can't be their own voice. So that's where I come in, and I show my audience that it's okay to fight for your happiness. Speaking my experience, because it's something that happened. Because narcissistic abuse, it's real and it's common, more common than we think. And sometimes we get in denial about certain things, and we have to make sure that at the end of the day, that we know, we're full aware of what abuse looks like in different forms, because it does take on many forms. So in order for us to take care of ourselves and stuff, we need to be able to take care of ourselves, defend ourselves, because we always have our best interest at heart. So that's one thing I could bring to Hago. I would like to bring realistic points of view, deep talks regarding the African American community, the woes of the African American community, discrepancies, controversial, anything controversial, just things like that, like agendas, like society agendas, things like that, fashion, creativity, the world of creativity, LGBT matters, things like that. There's just a wealth of different relatable content matters, just relatable content subjects that we can discuss. And I love meeting new people. So Hago is definitely the place. I know it's the place to be. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for this, for having me on here. And I love to talk. I love to meet new people. I think it's amazing. I love to make people laugh. I'm a funny girl. I'm a silly girl. Don't be fooled by all the hair and the makeup and all the fashionista stuff. Please don't be fooled by that. I'm the kind of girl who I can crack open a beer and drink with the homies. I can do it. I've always been that way. I have a little bit of a tomboy rather. A little bit of a tomboy streak. But I am a girly girl. I know some people ask me if I'm a female. Yes, I'm a cisgender female, lesbian, and I have dabbled in different sexual orientation identities. I I first identified as straight, but just kind of wondering, like questioning if there was something more to me. I knew I didn't really identify as entirely straight. I think the only thing that really, excuse me, I think the only thing that made me straight was just the fact of that I hadn't acted out certain like explorations that I wanted to act out, but then at the same time, it's all in the thought process. It's not always in the partaking of it. It's not always about the actions, but it's more about the mindset. So where your mindset is at is what identifies your sexual orientation. So if you're like thinking about the same sex every waking moment, you're thinking about them in a romantic way, then that would constitute you being, in the LGBT community, that definitely would constitute it. So that kind of thing. So I found myself just fantasizing about women a lot. So it's just something to, something to consider. But so then I ended up identifying as bisexual. And then from there, I started to have feelings for a couple of, I had feelings for a couple of people. One of them was a transgendered female. So then after that experience, I came out as pansexual, and then I ended up re-identifying myself as lesbian once I embarked in this relationship that I've been in for almost 10 months now, getting close to a year. I actually knew my girlfriend for just over a year and a half, something like over a year and a half. And she's amazing. I love her so much. I adore her. I've always adored her. So, yeah, we are talking about getting married, but it's going to take some time because there's some things I need to sort out first. So let me tell you some more about me. So I've been born and raised in New York, lived in California for a great deal of my life, lived in New Mexico for like 4 months, tried out Washington State for about 2.5 months or so. I've been kind of all over. I'm in Texas right now, visiting. We've been here since November. Gonna be leaving sometime soon. Not sure the exact date, but it's gonna be somewhat soon. Pretty much going on a 2-woman tour. I like to call it a 2-woman tour. Makes me feel like I'm I have like tickets on being sold at Ticketmaster, it just makes me feel like I'm important. Well, I am important. Everyone's important to some degree, but so my girlfriend and I, we are shopping around looking for a place, and looking for a place that's inexpensive in a good area, and like so many different facets. And we want a neighborhood that is going to be LGBTQ friendly, because living in Texas isn't it, you know what I'm saying? No. So it's not it, because it's difficult to be LGBT in Texas because of the way of thinking is different. It's just different. It's more traditional, more conservative, which makes it very difficult. So I would love to live in San Francisco. The only problem with San Francisco is that it's freezing cold. I I visited San Francisco twice in the same year. I think it was 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And I loved it there. It actually would be the one place that's freezing cold that I would actually consider living in. But to be fair, I really don't like cold. I actually hate it. I hate the cold. So, yeah, as much as I hate cold. But with San Francisco, I heard the LGBT like community out there is popping. Like it's popping. And like my girlfriend and I, we're into cultural, like we're into like the cultural, we want the cultural vibe, you know what I'm saying? We want, like, because we're two black women. My girlfriend, she's mixed. She's half white, half black. I'm mixed, well, according to Ancestry DNA, I'm mixed with Ghanaian, Congolese, 9% Senegalese, 6% Great Britain. But then my family growing up claim that I'm African American mixed with Cherokee Indian, because we always would have to get the Cherokee Indian in there somehow. And I think there was like this kind of obsession with Cherokee Indians. But anyway, but yeah, so it's just like we're two African American women. We identify as African American, and it's like culture is very important to us. The LGBT community in the place where we're living, that matters to us, because we've already have been feeling outcasted by our families and friends, and we want to feel like we are part of something. We want to feel like we are, well, I'm older, so I don't really care about acceptance. Like, yes, it would make my life easier, but then at the same time, I know that people aren't going to accept me. I am what I am. You either like me or you don't. Most people do like me. Usually if someone doesn't like me, it's usually because they're a narcissist or something. Or they're just miserable in their life and they kind of don't like to see me bouncing around all happy all the time. You know, because I get like people like that who, one time someone questioned me because I was just so happy, and they're like, why do you keep smiling? Why do you keep laughing? I laugh at everything. You say hi to me, you say hello to me, and I'm laughing. Like, I'm that kind of person. So, I mean, I use humor to cope because I've been through a lot. I've been violated as a child, if you can get my drift. I've made content about it. And this content has made, like, if I can think off the top of my head, 2.4 million views on one, and actually on two of them, I'm thinking, yeah, if I'm thinking correctly, about at least 2 million views on each. But like, I love making content. I like taking serious situations and turning it into something humorous, like the dark humor type. So sarcastic jokes, you know, pettiness, shade, that kind of thing, like those elements. I need more pettiness in my videos. It's funny. But yeah, so I love creating content. And I've come from a place when I lived in California. I'm going to tell you this as briefly as I can. I'm going to tell you the story. So I'm married with 2 kids, 15 and 19, 2 daughters, teenagers, of course. And been married for, separated now because I have my girlfriend. But we've been married for like 20 years, and I'm looking into divorce. We are already separated. Looking into divorce, and I felt outcasted by my husband's family. So I lived with his parents for like over 5 years. They made my life living hell because, you know, they're like, what, baby boomer generation? So like, yeah, they're baby boomer generation, and they just they kind of looked down. Actually, they did. They didn't kind of. They did look down on me big time about my choice as far as career, my hobbies that I would take on, content creating. They couldn't understand my content creating. They didn't get it. It just went right over their head. They were like scratching their head, looking at me on the side as I'm making videos, and they didn't get the point. I guess they kind of saw it as I was wasting my life away, because during the pandemic, when it started, especially, they were just looking at me. Well, the whole time, the whole 5 years, they was looking at me funny. But when the pandemic happened, it didn't help. So they were looking at me, scratching my head, like, why aren't you out there looking for a job? Like, why aren't you going on interviews? And you just stuck here all day on your phone, all day. That's the way they saw it. You're just on your phone. That's all you do. You don't care about anything else. You don't do anything else. You don't contribute here. You don't help out. All you do is you're just on your phone. But they're not thinking, I'm on my phone because I'm using my phone to make money. They weren't seeing it. And even if they did see that I was making something, they weren't seeing it as it wasn't life-changing money. You know what I mean? So so it was very he's just looking down at me, looking down on me, judging me for my decisions, with content creating and everything. And it's just it's very, very rough. It's very rough being outcasted, being looked down on. And everybody in the house, it was like a house of 8 people, but then one person moved out. So then it was 7 people and a dog, but then my dog passed away. So then it was just, so it was a big household full of people coming in and out of the house all the time. And it consisted of me, my husband, my 2 kids, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my niece-in-law, the oldest grandchild, my parent-in-law's oldest grandchild. It's in her late 20s, living with her, and then her father, which is my brother-in-law, my husband's brother. So, but then my husband's brother eventually moved out in more recent years. So he's been living there a long time too. He lived there I think 2 years early, 2 years before we moved in. But he had just moved out, so then it kind of looked, I guess his moving out looked bad on us, because then it was okay, get on the ball. Why aren't you moving out the way he's moving out? Because I guess because my in-laws, they're in their retirement years, born in 1942 and 1948, you do the math, but those are their ages. So it's born in, October and March, March 42 and October 48 or whatever. I think that's how it is. But anyway, so you do the math with the ages, but that's the age range of people we're dealing with. So it's just we kind of, we just always at odds. So my in-laws, it was their house. My parent-in-laws, it was their house. And I was 39 years old, and it felt like I had to, it was like I had to revert back to childhood. That's what it felt like. And I hated that feeling, because they didn't want me in certain rooms at certain times of the night. Even if I had all the lights off, they still didn't want me in the living room kind of thing. And even when I was talking on the phone in the dark, they just rather just have me in my bedroom. But then I couldn't be in my bedroom because I was sharing the room with my youngest child and my husband, and if they were sleeping, I couldn't be in the room talking on the phone while I was sleeping. So that was my reason for being out of the room in the first place. But there was a lot of rules dictated, and there was just, you have to do the dishes to help, that because that's your contribution because you can't financially afford to contribute. So you have to do dishes to kind of pick up your weight or pull your weight, and like they're constantly looking at being compensated. And I know my parent-in-laws are at that retirement age, or they are retired, and I know they want to be able to, it's about money for them. So they want to have everybody out of the house so they can have the house to themselves and enjoy, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they want to have the house to themselves, and I get that. It's like they're enjoying the final years of their life. I understand that 100%. But it was taking a toll on me. I was starting to get depressed. I was outcasted by everyone in the house, including my husband and my kids, everyone. Just had to kind of just let the chips fall where they may, if I'm even saying that correctly, and just not force them to see my point, but just kind of trust that, well, I don't know if they'll see it in time, but I just had to kind of be content with myself and not look for approval from anyone else. And I've been known as someone who just pretty much does what they want, like a free spirit. I've always been known as a free spirit. Like, you know, like, I guess some people see me as spontaneous. Like, it's just going to, I'm not really that spontaneous. I'm very responsible. I can be spontaneous, but I'm very responsible with my life. And some things, like some of the decisions I make, a lot of people would pretty much, like, it's not for the faint of heart at all. I'm 40 and I'm dating a 23-year-old woman, you know, in a lesbian relationship. So it's like, I have the tendency to be controversial. So, like, I'm not R. Kelly, not trying to be R. Kelly. People keep putting me in that R. Kelly category. I'm not R. Kelly. And I don't condone what he does. I don't, you know. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much my life in a nutshell. Right now we're on a 2-woman tour, so we're building our lives from the ground up, escaping emotional abuse from our households. So it's a journey, and I'm looking forward to bringing it onto Hago, inspiring people and meeting new people. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm looking very forward to meeting each and every one of you. And it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be one heck of a wild ride. I'm going to be looking forward to every single minute of it. Thank you so much. This is Curry Spice signing out. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. So, also on Hago, I would like to talk about fashion, also show you outfits that I love to wear. Maybe pick out some outfits, more like a get ready with me kind of style, including makeup, asking or answering questions about makeup, things like that, because people, they're very curious about my style and how I came to be Curry Spice. So I just like to be able to just give people a little bit of like a little je ne sais quoi, or help people find their je ne sais quoi. So that's something else I have to offer, and I'm excited, guys. Everybody loves my style, so I like to be able to help people find their style as well. And also, I like to be able to help people find their passion in life, because it took me a while to find mine, and I like to be able to make an impact and give back to the community. I know it's really hard to find your passion, especially if you're out of touch with what you like, you know, like what your skills are, things you gravitate toward, you know, hobbies, things like that. It takes, even sometimes takes a lifelong journey to really understand yourself and to really know yourself on that level where you know what your passions are, and that confidence to run for your passions instead of just choosing a career because it pays well and just leaving your passions at the door. So something to think about, guys.